Okay, guys, so as we continue working with our linear functions, anytime you have a line on a graph, that line has something called a slope. So that's going to be our focus in this video, is what is slope and what does it do? So by definition, slope is the ratio of the vertical change to the horizontal change of a line. Now there's a formula to find slope. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Slope is very also often referred to as rise over run. So you can see that on your screen as well. We're going to work with the formula. We're going to work with rise over run a bit. Also on your screen right now, you can see the 4 types of slope: positive, negative, zero, and undefined. So here's what you want to think about. If you are looking at a graph going from left to right, just like you would read a sentence. So positive slope is that as I move from left to right on this graph, this is going up in a positive direction. As I go from left to right, this next one's going down. As I go from left to right, this one is staying the same. So we say it has zero slope. It would be like if you were trying to stand on a skateboard, right? You'd be trying to go up the hill, you'd be trying to go down the hill. Here you'd just be standing flat. So there's zero slope. You wouldn't be going anywhere. And undefined, you'd be falling, right? This is sort of like a cliff and you couldn't stand on it at all. So if you can't stand on it at all, that's an undefined slope, okay? And that's a perfectly straight up and down line. So the first thing we're going to do is, if you are using this formula, how do you find the slope of a line? So when you look at this page, I have the formula up here in the top right-hand corner so that it's still on your screen: y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We've worked a little bit before with these ones and twos, so I just want to sort of point out that they are not numbers that you're going to be using. They are labels. They are telling you, I want the y from the first ordered pair or the y from the second ordered pair. Every ordered pair is an x and a y. So if you look here above my 2 ordered pairs in question 1, I already have them labeled. The first ordered pair is x1, y1 because it's the first ordered pair. The second ordered pair is x2, y2 because it's the second ordered pair. So when you're filling in the slope formula, the y1s and 2s or x1s and 2s are telling you which x or y value does it want. Are you using the first ordered pair or the second ordered pair? And so it is about filling those values in. You'll perform the subtraction that the formula says, and then it is going to be a fraction. So we do want to simplify or reduce that fraction as far as possible, if we can, okay? So if we are finding our slope, so y2 is 8 minus y1, which is 2, over x2 is 10 minus x1 is 3. So now perform the subtraction. So 8 minus 2 is 6 over 10 minus 3 is 7. Once you have a single number on the top and bottom, this is where you would simplify your fraction if you can. This is a 6 over 7. That's not something I can simplify. So 6 over 7 is my slope. So the only thing I'm going to do here, if I can, I was going to try and copy these. Yep. So I'm just going to put them above our other ordered pairs here, just so I don't have to try and write them every time. It's definitely something you can do on every problem. Take 2 seconds, label all your ordered pairs. That way, every time you go to fill in that formula, everything is already set up for you. If you don't need to label your ordered pairs, that's fine, but it's certainly an option, and some people find it really helpful. Okay, so let's do another one. So now that I'm looking at number 2, y2 is 4 minus y1 is 1 over x2 is 0 minus x1 is 5. 4 minus 1 is 3. over 0 minus 5 would be negative 5. So 3 over negative 5. Again, try and simplify. 3 and 5 don't simplify. So let's try number 3. y2, sorry, that should be a 6. Let me fix that. There we go. So y2 is 6 minus y1 is negative 6. So this minus sign is from my formula. So behind it, I need to now put a negative 6 over x2 is 9 minus 4. So on the top, be careful. Remember what happens when you have minus and negative. If it helps, this becomes a plus sign. So can I go in here like this, change it to a plus sign? Sure. If you're just using a calculator, just make sure you put 6 minus negative 6. Make sure you have both those negative signs. But either way, we get a positive 12 on the top. And I'm sorry, I just have an error on the bottom here. I subtracted ahead of myself. This was supposed to say 9 minus 5. There we go. And that's going to give us a 4 on the bottom. Sorry, guys, my mistake. So this is a case, though, where now if you look at this, I have 12 over 4. And so 12 over 4 is a fraction that we can simplify. So remember, this is where you're trying to decide, hey, what can I divide the top and bottom by? And you want to divide as many times as you can. So both 12 and 4 can actually divide by 4. So I'm just going to go in here and show that. And then we're going to say that, okay, 12 divided by 4 is 3. 4 divided by 4 is 1. We do want to keep our slope in fraction form, so I am going to say 3 over 1 instead of just saying it's 3. And as we move forward, you'll sort of see why, because that's going to help us when we try and then use this and a graph together, okay? If you want to try some slope on your own, maybe hit pause on the video and go ahead and try 4, 5, and 6 that you can see on your screen. So if you chose to do 4, 5, and 6 on your own, I'm going to go through them now that you can check your answers. And if you didn't try them, obviously you'll just follow along with me. So I'm going to go down here and we're just going to keep going. So 6 minus 6 on the top. 1 minus negative 8 on the bottom. 6 minus 6 is 0. 1 minus negative 8 is going to be a positive 9. Anytime you have 0 on top of your fraction, you can take that to the whole value 0. If you try and put that into a calculator, 0 divided by 9, you're going to get 0 as an answer. That's the only time it's okay not to leave it as a fraction, that you are allowed to just take it to a whole value as 0. Because 0 on top, it doesn't matter what number's on the bottom, it's gonna stay 0. So this bottom number can change every time, but still give you the same answer. Unlike these problems in the first row, if I change that bottom number, it changes my whole answer. Number 5 here, so I've got 9 minus negative 7 and negative 3 minus 5. So really just watch your positives and negatives with your slope formula. 9 minus negative 7 is actually going to give me 16 over negative 3 minus 5 is going to be negative 8. And both of these values can actually divide by 8. So I'm going to end up with a positive 2 over a negative 1. And the last one here, looks like I've got 7 minus 3 for the top, negative 1 minus negative 1 for the bottom. 7 minus 3 is 4. Negative 1 minus negative 1 is going to be 0. If you try and put this into a calculator and you say, hey, I have 4 divided by 0, you're going to get an error message in your calculator. And that's because this is undefined. So remember the 4 types of slope. Undefined is the one that gives us that straight vertical up and down line. Anytime you have 0 on the bottom, this word undefined is actually what you want to write for slope. That's saying, hey, I know that the slope is undefined. It means I have a line that's going straight up and down. And it makes the slope of this different from, say, the slope over here on number 4. So that's giving us the difference between what happens when 0 is on the top of a fraction and what happens when 0 is on the bottom of the fraction.